Hello and welcome to Trish Rock Inspires. I'm your host, Trish Rock, peace coach, best-selling author, and psychic. This podcast is to inspire you and shift your perception so that you can live your best life. This is series 5, and I hope you enjoy the podcasts. Please like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can connect with me at trishrock.com. Now sit back and enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome. I'm Trish Rock, and this is my podcast, Trish Rock Inspires. I'm just about to launch Series 5 of my podcast. It's been going for quite a few years now. I've had a bit of a break for the last 12 months or so, but over the years I've done hundreds of beautiful interviews with amazing people who are top of their game in their business, in spirituality, and in how they serve and help other people. And it's been such an honor to interview all of these people. And now, as we go into series 5 of the podcast, it's going to be more about inspiring you by helping you see, hear, and feel new perspectives about your life, about you, about your reality, about what you can create, what you can uncreate, and I just really want to inspire you to live your best life. So if you haven't downloaded or subscribed to my podcast, please do. I'm across all the channels, and just search for the podcast and subscribe, and then you will be notified every new episode that I bring out. And you never know, there might even be a few people popping in over this series to bring us their wisdom and inspiration as well. So for this first episode in series 5, I want to start with my new book that has just been released. It's already a bestseller in 3 categories, and a hot new release in 5 categories, and it's available worldwide through Amazon. And it's also available in Australia. If you'd like a signed copy, you can certainly get that directly from me. So the book is called The Peace Process, and it's a process that I created to help my own life because I felt so stuck. And, I've had over a decade now of personal development, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars on things that I've invested in, and they've all created change in me. And I know for many of you listening, it's the same. You've really invested in yourself, in your life, in your personal development. And if you own a business, that's immediately personal development, right? And, there's some areas of life that still feel like you haven't moved to where you want it to be. And I was feeling like that as well. And I kind of felt like I was here and what I wanted was there. And so I always felt in this lack, like here I am, what I want is there. This is who I am, who I want to be is there. And it always felt like this lack. And one night, quite a few years ago now, I just said to Spirit, there's got to be a different way. There's got to be a different way, a way that works for me. And I was downloaded this and immediately put it into practice and found that it really worked, and it was simple, and I wasn't reaching for what I wanted to be anymore. I was simply remembering, and I became it. right? So of course I wanted everybody to know about it, and now this work and really my life's work here is in this book, because it's not only a message about these 5 steps and this peace process, it's a message to you, to the reader, to the listener, to anybody who's seeing this, that you've got the power within you. You've got the ability to create a life that feels in alignment, a life that you love, and you've got the ability to do it now. You don't need to be reaching or saying one day soon, or one day I'll be happy, or when this happens I'll be happy, or when this happens I'll feel good. You can do it now. So I want to just take you through these 5 steps, and over the next couple of podcasts I am going to focus on each step, and even if you haven't gone through the process or read the book or have never heard of it before, you will learn how important each of these things are to really remembering who you already are, so that you can really embody it now, and then align your reality with it, right? I was trying to do it the other way, right? I was trying to change things and then align myself to it, and that wasn't working. I had to become it. I had to remember those parts of me for that thing that I desired, or that part of me that I desired. I had to remember that I already was that, which is when we go off into parallel realities, and then remembering that and coming here into my reality now. Then the next 4 steps are about aligning that. So the 5 steps in the peace process: tools to align and prosper, accessing parallel realities to remember who you are. The first step is accessing those parallel realities. It's really about perceiving peace and alignment through parallel realities. Now, it sounds very woo-woo and out there. However, and it can be, you can make it whatever you want it to be. But what I have found is that whatever you can imagine, whatever you can dream, whatever you can form a picture of in your mind, I believe that it's already true for you. And if you can really get clear on what it is you want to shift in your life, then you can be very clear on the reality or the vision or the place you take your imagination to. You can be very clear on that and really imagine yourself there, living it from your eyes. And that's what we do in step 1. And these moments when we take ourselves into these other realities, there needs to be a real clarity around it. And I'll talk about that in the podcast where I dedicate to this step. But one of the important things is to really be clear on what it is that you want. I know in the beginning I used to bundle everything up together. It's like, oh, my whole life is a disaster and I need to change it all right now. And it's so overwhelming. It's so overwhelming that nothing gets changed. So in this step in the book and in my process, and if for people who work with me, we really get clear. What is it that you want to change? So for example, but I'll go into more examples in the next podcast. But for an example, I want to change this. I want to change this thing that I have with relationships, and I keep attracting the same people. So that's fairly broad, right? So the question is not about the people you're attracting, it's about you. Why are you attracting that? What's the issue? Let's go in there and find out, what is it about these people you're attracting that is serving you? And let's shift that, and let's find a reality that you can imagine in your mind where you've already been, where you're attracting differently. So that's what I mean about getting clear. And it's fully written there. All the instructions are in the book about how to get to that clarity. And when I'm working with people, I just have this innate knowing of what the actual issue is. It's like the cause and effect, right? And if you keep just fixing the effect and not the cause, you will keep having the same experience. So it's like band-aiding something and you just keep getting the same experience. When you go straight to the cause, what is causing this experience to happen? Bad relationships, struggle with money, struggle with health. What is the cause of that? Let's go there and then find the solution from there. Because you change the cause, you change the effect on the external. So that's what I mean by clarity. So that's step one. And we'll really go into, who are you? Who's your personality? Who are you really? Who are you really? You're not just this person that you see in the mirror. You're not just the labels that you've given yourself. Husband, wife, child, mother, father, workmate, partner, wife, mother, father, right? You're more than that. You're more than the labels and you're more than what you see. And when you can understand that, tuning in to another part of you that has already lived this desire that you want makes total sense. It's super easy. And you get to go and experience your life, how it feels and what it looks like to be living that already. And this was actually the magic for me because I wasn't reaching anymore. So let me give you an example of my first process that I did. So the first one that I did through these 5 steps was to become more abundant. Now, I was originally going to work on lack or struggle or, my poverty mindset or, more money coming in, all that kind of stuff I was going to work on. But ultimately, the cause of all of this was my lack mindset. And so it wouldn't have mattered on the external things that I worked on, if I worked on managing money better, if I worked on doing more to attract more income, it wouldn't have made any difference because the core was a lack mindset. So that was the first one that I worked on. And if you've gone through the process, you know that we name the persona. So my new persona was called Abundant Trish. And I go into this parallel reality and, where I already am that, your mind will take you there. Mind will take you there. And I experienced how I felt, what it looked like, what I was saying, what I was thinking, the environment, my decisions, my choices, all from a different point of view, from an abundant mindset, not a lack mindset. Because I hadn't been in the abundant mindset before. I'd been in lack mindset my whole life. So I didn't know what it was. So I was always reaching. So I go into the parallel reality where I'm living that. And I remember all of what went on there, and I come back into this reality and I write it all down. And now that I remember it, I've felt it, I've experienced it, I know it, I'm not reaching for it anymore. And there's some processes that happen with this as well, with statements and, you know, little exercises and tools that you do until you have integrated it all. But ultimately, I wasn't reaching. And this could be the case for you as well. So that's step one. Now, when you are then, you come back to this reality that you are in, and you've already got the knowledge of that new mindset or that new persona, that new part of you, you will have things coming up that it's like your ego. It's like, no, I don't want you to change. No, but what about this? And oh, what about when this happened? And, you know, the ego just wants to protect you. It's got all of these triggers, and you've got all of these emotions and memories in you from all the times in your life where you've been hurt or upset or not heard, not seen, right? All of that. So some of these will start coming up. The thing is, though, that now that you're new, you've changed a part of your persona and you're integrating it into your personality overall, because we've all got parts of our personality. Some of those old beliefs just won't be relevant anymore, because when you go into another reality where you're living a different mindset, you're not burdened or restricted or limited by any of the beliefs that you've currently got, which are part of the cause, right? So step two is in really embracing forgiveness and acceptance. And this is a letting go. This is a chance to really go, you know what? With this new persona now that I've just experienced and that I'm integrating, because I remember it, I don't need to hang on to those old stories. I don't need to hang on to that fear. I don't need to hang on to that resistance. And so step two is about doing some exercises to really forgive some of that stuff and just release it. And it releases very easily because it really isn't you anymore. Release it, and then really fully be in acceptance of the now. And that's a really important step, is step two, because it brings you to that point in your reality where you can be the new persona, that new part of you can really begin to take action without the old weight. Yeah. And then we go to step three, which is also something that, your old persona will do to try to hang on. And that's really about self-sabotage. And step three is allowing self-actualization versus self-sabotage. And we all have self-sabotaging patterns, and they all come in different sizes, shapes. They all look and feel and sound differently. Some of them you consciously know, some of them are very unconscious. So step three is going through that process with some tools and exercises and really allowing this new persona to dictate the reality, not the old habits. Yeah. And then step four is connection. Step four is about connection. When you are truly connected with who you are, there's a level of peace there that takes you out of fear. It takes you out of comparison. It takes you out of needing to people please. It takes you out of anything that is not in alignment with you. Yeah. So step 4 is about connection, and I really go into the 7 chakras for step 4, because when you're out of balance in any of your chakras, not only will it affects the energy coming in and out of your body, but it affects you in your reality, in a physical sense. It will affect you as well. So knowing that and knowing the correlation between what's happening in your reality, in your physical, and being able to connect that with what's happening energetically with you really allows you then to take the action to align all of that. So because we've already, in step 1, already remembered who you are and you're bringing that in, the next 4 steps, including this one, are really about integrating, releasing the old, and creating a new reality without the old cause. Yeah. And then step 5 is, really seeing these new normals, I've called them, in your reality. So it's really integrating that. So, when you go into this parallel reality with that persona that you want to shift, your environment will be different. And it's about bringing all of that in. So for instance, in my first one, when I was shifting my persona from lack mindset Trish to abundant Trish, my environment that I lived in looked very different as lack Trish than it did with abundant Trish. And so having that physical reinforcement of who you really are allows you then to have the physical kind of evidence, so that that new persona really is integrated. And this process is a rinse and repeat. And once you've gone through it once, then it opens up the next thing. And so for me then, once I had that persona in place as part of my personality of abundance, then I could work on the managing money, bringing more money in, different things in that, and also other parts of me that were ready to shift with the new mindset. And it's different for everybody. But in the beginning, it's really common for people to want to work on, everything at once. But if you can work on one thing, and then it really leads to the next and leads to the next. And ultimately, we are always shifting and changing. And it doesn't matter how much personal work you do, there's always something. And to really be in acceptance of that, and it becomes an adventure then. It's like, wow, okay. So I was happy with that as my persona for all these years, but you know what? It's not in alignment anymore to be that. So what do I want to change about that now that feels more in alignment? And as we expand as a human being here, as we expand our true self, our energetic soul, we will find new ways that we want to expand. That's our journey here, right? It's an adventure. It's not about just staying in one place. The human experience is about expansion. And the human experience is full of ups and downs. And it's the ups and the downs that create your expansion. And every expansion takes you closer to truly remembering your essence and the oneness that you are with everything. So that's the 5 steps, and there's a whole lot more in the book that really helps you to understand that. But I really want to focus on each of the steps over the next couple of weeks, and give you more examples and really help you to understand and realize the power of this process and the ease. Because I'm a simple gal. Anyone that knows me, I don't like complicated things, right? Why can't we simplify that? And I remember the first time I was aware of that, actually, just taking it off track a little bit, was in primary school. I might have been high school, sorry, year 7 or 8. And I used to ask questions all the time in maths class in particular, when we were doing all the difficult things, like, why can't I just do it this way? It's easier. And, of course, it was met with disdain and, no, you'll do it this way. But I'm always in my mind, what's a more simple way to do this to get the same result? And this process is very simple. And that's what I love about it. It's not complicated. It doesn't even feel like hard work. It just feels like clarity. It feels like truth. It feels like remembering who you really are. And that's really what it's about. So I'll hope you'll join me for this series 5 in my podcast. And if you want to go back and listen to some of the inspiring interviews in the other series that I've done, please do. They're very inspiring. You might see, part of yourself there that really resonates, and then, really know that what you're doing is great. What you're doing is perfect. Who you are is perfect. So that was the point of those interviews. So you could see yourself and see how amazing you are. So, yes, I look forward to the next couple of months of really talking about this process, and I really hope it makes a difference for you and it inspires you to open up to the truth of who you are and what you're here to do, be, and feel. And I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Trish Rock Inspires. You can connect with me at trishrock.com. See you for the next one.